When the robot was going over foam, the feet movements were stomping on the ground, versus when it came on this poly surface, it was trying to adjust the motion so it doesn't slip. Then that is when it strikes you. This is what machine learning is bringing to the table. We think the robot dog could be really helpful in disaster response scenarios where you need to navigate many different kinds of terrain, or putting these dogs to do surveillance in harsh environments. But most technology runs into the challenge that there is some good they can do, and there's some bad. For example, we can use nuclear technology for energy, but we also could develop atom bombs, which are really bad. This is what is known as the dual-use problem. Fire is dual-use. Human intelligence is dual-use. So needless to say, artificial intelligence is also dual-use. It's really important to think about AI used in context, because yes, it's terrific to have a search and rescue robot that can help locate somebody after an avalanche. But that same robot can be weaponized. When you see companies using robotics for putting armed weapons on them, a part of you becomes mad. And a part of it is the realization that when we put our technology, this is what's going to happen. This is a real transformative technology. These are weapon systems that could actually change our safety and security in a dramatic way. As of now, we are not sure that machines can actually make the distinction between civilians and combatants. Scientists are using artificial intelligence to figure out drugs that will cure diseases that are not getting any attention. It used to be with drug discoveries, you would take a molecule that existed and do a tweak to that to get to a new drug. And now we've developed AI that can feed us with millions of ideas, millions of molecules, and that opens up so many possibilities for treating diseases we've never been able to treat previously. But there's definitely a dark side that I never have thought that we would go to. Instead of asking AI to create drug-like molecules that could be used to treat diseases, scientists wanted to see if they can generate the most toxic molecules possible. They thought it was going to fail because all they really did was flip this 0 tail 1, and by inverting it, instead of driving away from toxicity, now they are driving towards toxicity. They did nothing but press the start button, and in a few moments there was a file on the computer, and within it were roughly 40,000 molecules that were potentially some of the most toxic molecules known to humankind. They were blown away. The computer made tens of thousands of ideas for new chemical weapons. Obviously, we have molecules that look like and are VX analogs and VX in the dataset. VX is one of the most potent chemical weapons in the world. It can cause death through asphyxiation. This is a very potent molecule, and most of these molecules were predicted to be even more deadly than VX. Many of them had never, as far as we know, been seen before. And so, when scientists realized this, they were like, "Oh, what have we done?" They quickly realized that they had opened Pandora's box. The thing that terrifies them the most is that anyone could do what they did. All it takes is the flip of a switch. How do we control this technology before it's used potentially to do something that's utterly destructive? At the heart of the conversation around artificial intelligence and how do we choose to use it in society is a race between the power with which we develop technologies and the wisdom that we have to govern it. There are the obvious moral and ethical implications of the same thing that powers our smartphones being entrusted with the moral decision to take a life. But we're trying to make sure that technologies we create are used in a way that is safe and ethical. Let's have conversations about rules of engagement and codes of conduct in using AI throughout our weapons systems, because we are now seeing enter the battlefield technologies that can be used to kill autonomously. In 2021, the UN released a report on the potential use of a lethal autonomous weapon on the battlefield in Libya. A UN panel said that a drone flying in the Libyan civil war last year had been programmed to attack targets autonomously. If the UN reporting is accurate, this would be a watershed moment for humanity, because it marks a use case where an AI made the decision to take a life and not a human being. We are seeing advanced autonomous weapons beginning to be used in different places around the globe. There were reports out of Israel. Azerbaijan used autonomous systems to target Armenian air defenses. It can fly around the battlefield for hours, looking for things to hit on its own, and then plow into them without any kind of human intervention. And we've seen recently these different videos that are posted in Ukraine. It's unclear what mode they might have been in when they were operating. Was a human in the loop, choosing what targets to attack, or was the machine doing that on its own? But there will certainly come a point in time, whether it's already happened in Libya, Ukraine, or elsewhere, where a machine makes its own decision about whom to kill on the battlefield. Machines exercising lethal power against humans without human intervention is politically unacceptable, morally repugnant. Whether the international community will be sufficient to govern those challenges is a big question mark. If we look towards the future, even just a few years from now, what the landscape looks like is very scary, given that the amount of capital and human resource going into making AI more powerful and using it for all of these different applications is immense.